I would like to introduce you to someone who is literally the source of most of my funniness, most of my humor, like as if I have a lot, but I've stolen most of the really good lines that I use from him in one way or another, or the thinking that comes from them. And I've been trying to convince him to get up here and share for literally a couple of years now, and this is going to be his debut. So he's going to come up here and he's going to share some good, funny stuff. And I'll tell you what, this is somebody that if you ever get a chance to go out to a Starbucks or just hang out with him and watch him tease the baristas and just have fun with them, you're in for a big treat. So give a big welcome to my friend Rich.
You know, I thought that I would share a little bit of my story because I think that it is somewhat appropriate. And I wanted to say that there's never, whatever your secret excuse is for not doing this work, get over it. There's nothing that should stop you from this work except morbid obesity. There's a little story around this. Well, there is. I was fighting with my girlfriend last year, and I was at my top weight of 340 pounds. And then she was complaining about my travel schedule, and I said, look, you know, okay, whatever. I get my travel schedule is a problem. Is there anything else that's a problem in our relationship except for my travel? And she paused for a second. She goes, well, there is your obesity. So, which was kind of an interesting kind of I thought that was funny. I guess you did. Courtesy laughter, please. Come on, you know.
So,
Yeah.
you got to love this here.
Yeah.
In this picture here, he doesn't even know who took the picture, but he's standing next to...
I was actually reading the fat content is actually what I was doing.
he was stuffing something into his mouth while reading the fat content of a piece of ice cream. That is one of the... I can't believe that picture.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's a reason I actually put that up there.
This is like a self-help meeting already.
Well, it's important. I think
Could we all like hug?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
There's going to be hugging at some point in
end.
this thing. I know that there's going to be hugging. Okay, go ahead.
There's a reason for this. I haven't figured out what it is yet, but we'll figure it out along the way.
Okay.
You know, the way I discovered this stuff was out of deep insecurity. I knew that because I was, as one doctor said to my face, morbidly obese, that I had a better chance of winning the lottery than of being intimate with anyone other than my hand. And so I had nothing to lose, and I would just have fun, because that's the most important thing. Strange enough, it created attraction, and my friends would say, dude, this chick's into you, and when they'd see some of these interactions, and I didn't believe it for quite some time. I took a little ridicule from David D. You know, I still cry at night over, you know, before I actually started to believe it and actually have some physical success with it, which is actually a lot of the
He's
truth.
telling the truth. I remember one time, I mean, one of many times, we were in La Jolla at the Starbucks there in, up by UTC, and we're in there, and we'll always be standing in line somewhere, and there'll be like some really attractive woman there, and I'll be thinking like, okay, what kind of smooth move can whip up? I'm David D, dude. And like by the time I like turn around, he's got her laughing, and he's teasing her, and he's like telling her she's retarded and stuff, and it's like some hot girl. And anyway, we were standing there, and he's like teasing this girl, and like I walk around behind her, like, and I'm like going, get the number. And he's like going, shh.
Right.
And this is the kind of thing that would just happen. I mean, it happened for years and years.
It took me a long time to get to that place. But I think it's important to, you know, to keep in mind just to have fun with it, you know, because when you start off with it, when you're really focused on the outcome rather than having fun, it can really get tough. Get your inner game together. Know that if you're incongruent inside, she'll know it immediately. And that's why if you're just there to have fun primarily, and whatever happens, happens, and whatever outcome, you know, that'll make a big difference. Learn to manage your inner anxiety, which has been an interesting path for me. When you know, a lot of my weight had to do with the inability to manage a lot of my inner anxiety, and you know, over the last year or so, I've really developed some tools to really deal with that. You know, just to trust that everything's going to work out, and you know, you got to go on that path. If you're the kind of person that has a lot of issues with that, you know, it may not manifest in the form of weight, or you know, but it's a good work to do. It's important to start on that process because it'll make a big difference in not only in your personal relationships, but also your romantic relationships as well.
I had no idea you were going to go into this.
I know.
Like
I asked you if you wanted to see it. You didn't realize
weight
that.
love story thing that you got going on here.
I'm gonna sing here in a
But
minute.
while you're entertaining yourself, maybe you could tell them the story about the new term you have.
Which one?
The one that replaces unacceptable.
Well, you know, I used to say the word unacceptable all the time. And unacceptable, what it would do is when I would say the word, I would instantly get really fully embraced into the anxiety, like this is unacceptable. And what it would do is, literally, if we go into some of the psychobiology of it, it would cause this inner state of anxiety. The word itself would cause an inner state of anxiety, which over time will lower your brain chemistry. Anxiety lowers brain chemistry. And then, for me, I was eating food to increase my brain chemistry. Stress will lower serotonin and dopamine, norepinephrine, and things like fat and sugar will increase it. And so part of this process for me has been learning how to manage anxiety, learn how to, and I've replaced the word.
Hang on a sec. Have you ever felt victimized by something and you just felt like it was unacceptable?
Exactly.
And you felt like there was an injustice and you couldn't get over it? You just can't get past that thing? You know what I'm talking about?
So I've replaced the word unacceptable with unusual, because it still expresses a little bit of, this kind of sucks, but it's not unacceptable. So it's...
Well, it's kind of funny. I've been doing it.
Yeah, no.
I had a couple of people doing it. I'm like going,
yeah.
Something bad. I go, that's unusual.
Does anybody out there battle with, like, just really get pissed off and stay pissed off for some period of time? You guys are all liars. Okay, okay, all right.
That's unusual.
This is another one. Get over what if she figures out I'm not this funny all the time. Relax, have fun with it. If you focus on having fun with it, it'll work itself out. And that's exactly what I did. And you can do that as well. And I put down even Jim Carrey isn't funny 24/7. I've heard a lot of guys say, well, what happens when she finds out I'm not that funny? I'm like, I just figured it out just now. And I'm still talking to you. Okay, anyways. So just have fun. You got to just have fun with it. It's important. Also, this is also, we all have that place inside of ourselves where we feel like a fraud or insecure about something about ourselves at some time. But if you work on it over time, it works itself out, and you develop a balance and a congruence around it. I tell the story about when the company that I've been working for the last 7 years, when I first started to work with this company, I got the job, you and I, and the day before, I go down to California, I got long hair, I got a goatee, I'm dressed in black, cut my hair, get new clothes, shave my face, and the next day I'm hired for this company doing corporate sound, traveling around the country wearing suits. And it took me some time to find this certain inner congruence with the fact that I just was this long-haired guy a couple months ago, and now I'm traveling to these business seminars. I don't belong. I'm a fraud. And it took me some time to really go, I do a great job. I deserve all this. I'm not a fraud. And all of us have those secret places where we sabotage ourselves. And I think it's important to start becoming aware of those things around women. Cocky comedy is a great place because when you're in that interaction, it's like, especially a lot of the stuff I don't do it at loud clubs. I'll do it at coffee shops, bookstores, where there's not the loud music or the alcohol to really protect you from those inner, And so it's important to kind of, be comfortable with yourself. Start that process. It's the best work you'll ever do, I think.
Have you ever felt like you were going to bust out a cocky comedy line or something that was funny, and you were stopped because you felt like you'd be a fraud if you did it? Raise your hand. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. A couple of tips for getting your inner game together. One of the things that I've done a lot of is doing a lot of journaling, finding those places where I have anxiety and limiting beliefs and fears around things, getting them out on paper and look at how ridiculous they are, and just kind of getting complete with some of those things, moving through that process. Allow yourself to have bad days / nights. Give yourself permission to take a day off. That's one of the things that I think a lot of guys, they get some of the materials and they get all excited, and then they go out and they make a decision, okay, for the next 7 days, I'm going to do something every day. And they wake up and they're in a weird headspace, they're having a bad day, and they're like, well, I said I'm going to do it even though, and they know they're going to bomb, but they do it anyways. And I think it's okay to give yourself permission to take a couple hours off or a day off if you're not really feeling it. Like, sometimes he and I were out last night, and he was talking to some girl, and I was exhausted, and I knew I wasn't on. And I decided just to pass an opportunity. I gave myself permission to just take the night off, and it's okay to do that. It's okay, rather than to force, I have to say something funny, and just screw it up, because you're all jacked up, Just be cool. Just have a good time. You guys want to see that again? Okay, you're not going to see it.
Will you do it again?
No. Mindsets of cocky funny always assume familiarity and rapport. That's an important thing. Just walk up like the person is. That's a great thing to come from. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, what's up? You're just keeping that, in mind.
You know what? Here, do this. Stand up for a sec. Yeah, you. Got you all nervous about this. Look around the room real quick. Find somebody that you don't know real quick. And walk over to them and say hey to them like an old friend and pretend that you know them. Shake their hand. Good.
When you assume that familiarity and rapport, it takes some of that edge off right away. It's like, you're not walking up going, oh, I don't know you. You're just automatically assuming I know that. So there's that whole part of the system that you just bypass in a way. Always keep a straight face. That's a good one to practice. Like some people nervously, hi, how are you? That's fake smile, nervous laugh. Hi. Keeping that straight face is a good place to. It's a good place to get centered with. It's a good technique to practice. I don't really have anything else to say about that, as you can tell. Approach situations like you're on the set of a sitcom. This is one of my favorite things to do. You were talking about the character. I love doing that. I love walking in, pretending like it's my show and we're on. We're shooting right now. Kind of getting into that mindset, pretending. It's great. Whenever possible, create the feeling of conspiracy. I tell the story about when I was at Trader Joe's, and I was in line behind this girl, and she turned around and she was eating this protein bar, and she smiled at me, and she was like finishing it up, and she smiled, and I looked at her real serious. I was looking around, I was like, you know what? Go ahead and put that wrapper in your pocket. I'm not going to say anything. And she goes, what? I go ahead and put that wrapper in your pocket. I'm not going to say anything. Just go do it. I'm like looking around. She loved it. It was like. And then she was like talking to me, and she was, I was dating somebody, so I didn't get her number, but I could tell when she left, she was really disappointed that I didn't. But it was just having fun, just creating that little conspiracy, Those opportunities are all around you. They really are. If a woman responds negatively, read the space. It may only be another test before you crack the nut. Have acuity around that. Always remember that when you are shut down, it means nothing about you. Your comment maybe, but not about you. It's an important thing to keep in mind when you're practicing this stuff. Styles and personas of cocky comedy. The dry, accusing, suspicious. Like Larry David is great at that kind of thing. I think I actually put Larry David in here twice. We'll have to see.
All right.
Watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's really got that kind of like, everybody in the world is doing him wrong. And he's just perpetually disgusted. It's a great kind of a shtick to inquisitive, genuine. Eat out of the palm of my hand. Like you're really interested. Oh, that's great. Oh yeah. And then I bet they make those shirts for men. You draw them in, that kind of a thing, where they totally takes them off guard. It's a great little shtick. Secretive conspiracy creating, like the Trader Joe's, that's a great one. Fake hipster, we do the Snoop Dogg spoken word, you're like the class, or not like the most unhip person, shizzle, my nizzle. Just have fun with it. Those are great little things to.
Yeah, you got to do a little bit more Snoop spoken word for him.
With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Snoop D-O-double-G. But I somehow, some way, keep coming up with funky ass shit like every single day. We'll finish that a little later. All right.
Yeah, a little spoken word rap is fantastic. If you actually say it to a girl, like you're telling her something and like you're being serious, and you start the conversation, you're having a conversation about something, you get up and you come walking back over, and you go, I had to back up off of it. Tanqueray and Chronic.
Yeah.
I'm effed up now.
Right.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if it's, a kind of a hip girl who knows rap, would know the song, is kind of hip to hip hop. Mm-hmm. As you start saying it, she'll kind of like go, what? Something sounds weird. Like, what are you're saying something to me that sounds familiar?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And even if they don't, you can bust on them for not knowing what's the current.
Absolutely.
Either way, you win. Nonverbal, the size, facial expressions, fake smiles, scowls, those are great ones. Any kind of nonverbal, look at yourself in the mirror and do those kind of things. That's the only thing you want to do.
You'll do it automatically if you look at yourself in the mirror, for most of you. 1 in 3 people is ugly. Look to your left. Look to your right. Okay, if it's not them,
we know who it must be. It's true. I already said Larry David, but look at that stuff. It's good stuff. Vince Vaughn, that guy's a master of those kind of this dry lines. Stephen Wright, if you ever see some of his stuff, he's great at that dry delivery and misinterpretations. He says, stupid stuff like, I went and I bought powdered water and I didn't know what to add. Or anybody in the room who believes in anyone in the room who believes in psychokinesis, raise my hand. That's stupid stuff like that, but the dry, just watch his delivery. It's not even, it's good stuff. Tony Soprano, I love pretending like I'm in the mob, What, you should want that I should have to whack you? Just stupid stuff like that, Like you don't give a damn what they think because you're out there to have fun. I mean, they can immediately pick up on what's going on, this is great. I love fake, have I told you what it,
Wow, that was smooth.
Let's try this again. You do it. You're like, okay. Okay, have I told you what a great job you're doing? And they're like, no, there's a reason for that. And then just look at, just pause for a minute, just stare at them. This another one. And they're like, I'd really like to tell you, what a great job you're doing, but I just can't bring myself to. And then just, those are great ones because you could, I'd really like to tell you what a great job you're doing. And they're like, oh, thank you. I'm like, but I just can't bring myself to. It's good stuff. This is a great one. I used this one time on this girl who still occasionally contacts me. It's a freak show. If a woman busts on you first, especially if they do it, in public, you say something back of the effect of like, look, it's apparent to everyone around us right now how attracted to me that you are, and that's cool, but you need to chill out a little bit because you're coming on too strong. Beautiful thing to say. It's like, like they're totally shut down. I mean, it's beautiful. They would, it's good stuff. If she says, have a good day, don't tell me what to do. I don't even know you, and you're already ordering me around. That's one of my personal favorites. You can use that anytime, any place.
This is one of the greatest things that you could possibly do.
Have a good day.
Tell
me what to do.
With like a barista at Starbucks or like the girl at the counter. You've been flirting with her, and you're like doing the thing, and she's not taking it, and you're like, oh, you're busting her balls. And then at the end, like, you're like, all right, thanks a lot. It's cool. And she'll like, oh, have a nice day. And then like you whip around as you're walking, and you go, don't tell me what to do. And then you keep walking. You don't even look back.
Great stuff.
You just walk away in to get your drink. And then as you roll back out, you look at her and you're like, yeah, all right.
Very good stuff. Accuse. Anytime you have an opportunity to accuse a woman of something, it's great. He and I last week, we were at Whole Foods Market in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And we were eating there, and this girl that worked there was on the phone behind us. And I knew she was on the phone the whole time that we were sitting there. And I was telling him something. I turned around right as she got the phone, and I go, were you listening to our conversation just now? And she goes, no, I was on the phone. I go, why are you acting so nervous about it? And she goes, well, I was just on the phone. I go, mm-hmm. And then I went back to talking to him. Remember what happened? Then a little later, that was just the perfect spark. Then a little later, I said, I'm going back to the hotel. I'm like, I really need to get some exercise tonight, but it's not going to happen. I said, you know what? If I steal some shit, will you chase me, and then I can run, get some exercise? And then it was this whole conversation. She's like, well, I need to get some exercise because this girl over here said I got a big ass, and I'm like, where is she? So this whole, she wanted to come back to the hotel with us, I think, after that whole thing. But just don't be afraid to just have that kind of fun, just after a woman says X, any kind of approval. Well, I did this, I did that, remember that time the girl said, I was 340 pounds. You were there, weren't you? When the girl said, I went to the gym today. And I said to her, well, you need to. or my new favorite one that a mutual friend of ours comes up with, like, oh, I did X day. Well, I'm very proud of you. And they're like, they just, the whole system gets.
What about that one girl that turned around and she's all, look, I've been losing weight and working out, and like, remember?
No, you have to.
You said, a lot of work to do.
I'll tell that story a little later. That's even better. If a woman points out one of your flaws, don't get shut down. I like to point out another one of my flaws, and then say, now it's my turn. Like, and they're like, because when you give them a second one, then they're like, now it's my turn. It's good. Don't ever let them, the upper hand. I put this in here because I think it's funny. I think some guys really don't know what the hell they would say if some girl would come back and say, whatever. And I just came up with a couple of things that I have said or I would say, ultimately. I don't date, ugly men, for example. Oh, I don't date ugly men. You and I had that, a friend of ours had that happen. You could say something back like, well, I don't usually date obese women either, but I thought with you I'd make an exception. Well, look at you, or what about you? This is my personal favorite. You can say this at all times. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you. That's a great one. My boyfriend is going to kick your ass. Well, maybe so, but it will still be less pain than listening to your mouth. Good stuff. Who asked you anyway? Well, actually, your mom asked me to approach you because you need a lot of help. Or, do I know you? Well, actually, I know your mom, and she asked me to approach you because, it's good to have a few of those things. Like, what would you say? I think some guys get stopped because they don't know ultimately what they would say. And this is really, sharpen the saw, not wax the pole. You've heard the concept of the woodsman that takes time to sharpen the saw, so he cuts more wood at the end. I guess I bombed. Okay.
I didn't hear about the guy that waxed the pole, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to sharpen the saw, not wax the. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Make friends. That the whole purpose of the relationship is develop this banter. I mean, I think it's great to find somebody in your circle of friends that has this kind of ability and this wit back and forth, and practice with them. I think it's good, because if you don't have anybody in your life that you can practice stuff with, when you first try to use it, with a woman, it's like the very first thing. So when you're doing it on a regular basis, it's easy to just go ahead and transfer it over into the flirting, situation. Get a blank business card. I think this is a good idea. Write down the context and criteria and keep it in your wallet. Look at it before walking into situations. If you're not really clear, write down something she's doing, something she's saying, something she's wearing. I can mess with her age, her social status, economic status, and just kind of do that kind of stuff. Rent a lot of movies that showcase this type of behavior and imitate it, then innovate it. It's okay to go ahead and, get those kind of movies that showcase that stuff and then try to, like David E. say, worked on this for at least 90 days. And don't ever take yourself too seriously. That's probably the most important thing. Just have fun. You got to have fun with it. If you're taking it too seriously, you're gonna get attached to it, and it's gonna be a slow process, and you're gonna have to get through a lot of anxiety and a lot of BS before you actually have some good results. Send me 10% of your income for the rest of your life. This will prove that you're really serious about learning this material. That's my personal. And that's it.
That stuff is great. I want to use it and master it. My problem, game face. And the question I ask is, when you deliver a line like that, do you keep a straight face? Do you keep a straight face and give a little bit of sort of that cocksure grin? How do you keep it so it doesn't look so serious where, damn, how dare you, where they don't take it as serious. They take it as sort of an insult, but with a funny gesture to it.
Do you ever use a cocksure grin?
Am I making sense? Is that a special expression for it? Like if I was to throw an insult at you, but I'm teasing you, but I'm keeping serious, that you almost want to a woman slap me on the hand, but have that.
I think you should keep the face. I think you should keep the face, and I think that if you
seriously,
I think you should definitely keep the face. And if you sense that she's getting all sketched out or anything, you can keep the face and go, relax. It's going to be okay. To where you're not going, oh, I'm sorry, haha, but you're letting her off the hook just a little bit, and then do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then at that point in time, you don't have to mess around with your facial expressions and do some sort of facial yoga. Just it's better to say something
I
like
thought that was a
rather
legitimate question, because that's where I think.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because that's where I got stuck at on a few points, and I'm sure a lot of fellas do.
Yeah, I think that's use that. Yeah.
Stand up.
That was killer stuff, by the way.
Thanks.
I was just wondering, it seems like a lot of that is really good for one-on-one type stuff, like if you're just meeting people, like you said, in the bars or coffee houses or whatever, where it's more of a one-on-one. But if you're in a club or something like that, or you meet a group of people on the street, how would you use those things to break into a group? Would you have to take each person on, or would you just say?
That's not my. I don't do that. My personal, when I developed this stuff, I was going to bookstores, coffee shops, things like that. I think that you can take some of the content that I delivered and match it up with some of the things that Craig and Tyler taught, and I think you can put together your own kind of system around that. I'm sure there's a way to fuse those two things together. I think Craig probably, would probably help you with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a woman you're talking to and she says, I'm boring, I haven't done anything for a few months or so, do you say, I'm interesting and very funny, and let her know that you're not boring, or do you just say you're too boring for me to have her come out of her boredom?
If she said she was boring, I'd be like, you know what? I know. And actually, I was going to see how much money you had on you, because I'm going to start charging you for this interaction right now. I'm not going to do this for free. I mean, we could probably work in some kind of coaching to where, you don't suck so much. I would go right with it, and, you know what I'm saying?
If
you got to go with it.
If a woman ever uses self-deprecating humor or criticizes herself,
I'm boring. I would have also, she says I'm boring. I'd be like, I would have also added appalling, but hey, I'm not you. You got to have fun with it. You know what I mean? And if she's, in the spirit of fun, you can do a lot of great things. You know what I mean?
All right, thanks, man.
Cool.
Give me another round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
With that, I want to thank you very much for being here. I want to thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause.
This is it's kind of my motivational moment for my life. With a lot of the physical pain that I went through, I had a lot of time where I was alone in my life. A lot of my friends would come over to visit when I would have injuries, and there was a lot of times where I had to be sitting with myself, figuring out who I was. And I think the biggest challenge we noticed in society is that people really don't spend much time figuring out who they are, who they want to be. And I had a lot of time to figure that out. And on a regular basis, I'm always asking myself, is this the kind of person I want to be? And if it's not, I'll shift my attitude, or I'll shift what I'm acting like. But the critical moment in my life, I was in 4th grade, it was Halloween, and I loved Halloween when I was a kid because for one day everybody got dressed up in costumes, and I got to fit in for like a day. I got to blend in, so it was really important to me. And I was out of my wheelchair on the floor in my house before school, and I was rolling around on the floor, and I caught my left leg on the door, and I broke my femur, and I couldn't be raced to the hospital because the doctors couldn't set my bones because it would make them crumble like chalk. And so my mom came running in the room, and I was furious. I mean, I was angry because I was going to miss out on my favorite day of the year. I knew I had 4 to 6 weeks to heal. I didn't think it was fair, and I screamed something out that everybody in this room screamed out. I said, "Why me? What did I ever do to deserve this?" Raise your hand if you ever experienced that in your life. A moment where you're like, "Why me? What did I ever do to deserve this?" And I realized in a moment that I was so angry with what I had been dealt. And my mom knew that I was so angry, and she finally calmed me down, and she asked me a pivotal question. And this is a question I'm going to pose to you guys. And she looked at me, she looked at my condition. I was shaking in pain. There was nothing she could do except try to make sense of my world for me. She said, "Sean, is this going to be a gift or a burden in your life? Is this condition, is this bone disorder, is this reality that you're living in, are you going to take it as a gift or as a burden?" And I didn't know what she meant for a split second. I was like, she's crazy. She must be smoking something. You know, it's like, how could this be a gift? And in a moment, I shifted because what I realized is every single person alive experiences pain. Everybody in this room has gone through tremendous amounts of pain. You all have fractures in your life, but they're not bone fractures. For me, they were bone fractures. For you, there may be fractures in a marriage, fractures in your family, fractures in your finances. We all deal with fractures. And so what I realized is maybe the reason why I have this condition is I'm here on the planet to teach people how to get through their pain. It's to really how to find that gift in their pain. And once I realized that, then it's like, that's why I'm able to go out in the club and have so much fun, be playful. That's why I'm able to approach the most beautiful woman, tell her to get on her knees and give her like the cuddliest hugs and then lick her neck or do whatever I want to do, because I realized that this condition, it gives me an advantage over you. I don't have to wear stupid furry vests, Ben. I mean, honestly. It's like, is he here?
Just imagine how well it would work if you did.
No, I mean, it's true. But it's like I go out and I don't have to do anything to be remembered. I just got to be playful. And they're like, "Oh, Sean, yeah." I mean, there's pretty much no way on the planet you can get rid of the image of who I am from your memory bank for the rest of your life, which may be a good or bad thing. But and so therefore, I choose to see it as a gift. You have to see your obstacles as your gift, or you're going to sit around and wallow over and over and over. Let's take another question. Hope that answered it for you.
Hi,
Right here.
Sean. Thank you again, and you're real inspiration. So I guess my question is, when was your epiphany? When was the time then you felt you were going to go on a circuit, you were going to motivate college kids, all that kind of stuff? What happened?
I've noticed that people have stared at me my whole life. And so at some point in my life, I was like, maybe I better have something to say if they're going to be looking. So I started getting asked when I was in high school if I would speak about what it's like to be disabled. Oh, and by the way, I've never, ever thought of myself as disabled. And the reason why that is because I'm going to let you know that if you aren't happy with your life, you're more disabled than I am. Because when I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, wow, another day. This is so cool. I'm so excited what I've created for myself. And I think the epiphany moment when I was able to maybe create this career, if that's what you're talking about, is when I knew that I was having such an impact on people. And I made my life more than just about me. And this is the biggest thing I noticed. I do a lot of personal coaching. Some of the stuff I was doing on you guys was hypnosis, NLP stuff. And a lot of what I've learned is the people that I've met that are like celebrities or millionaires that have a lot of things going in life. You would think that they have every reason to be happy, but they're miserable. And they end up doing tons of drugs and just destroying their life, or they commit suicide or whatever, and yet they have so much going for them. It's because they didn't make their life more than just about them. You know, they made it about getting the girl. They made it about getting the car, getting the house, getting on television, or whatever. They get it, and then they feel empty. If you guys make, like, getting the girl your goal, you'll get her, and you'll feel empty. You have to make your goal about having a good time with people. That should be a big goal. You know, one of my goals is how can I improve the environment around me? I always like to leave a situation better than when I found it, wherever it is. Whether it's a grade school and I'm going in to talk to the little kids, or I'm going in to talk to people that have severe physical challenges, wherever I go, I always do my best to make it a better place than when I found it. And making your life more than just about you, that is the epiphany that I realized, oh, wow, you know, that is so important. And I tell people about how, you might want to write this down, is you want to have a high GPA, but it's not grade point average. GPA. It's a goal, purpose, and an action. And I set GPAs all the time. The goal is what you want. It's like what you want out of life. But the problem is most people do that to-do list. They create a lot of goals. They get it done, and then they feel empty. The problem is they didn't create the purpose. That's the P. You have to know, why do you want it? Why do you guys want to be better with women? Why? You know, for whatever reason, find that reason, because that reason is going to compel you. And then the last one is the action. The action is the last thing. You know, all the pickup line stuff, the outer game, that's all the actions. But if you get together with the what, the G, and the P, the Y, boom, you get the what and the Y together, the how will always come to you. It'll always come to you. It'll be so solid when it comes at you.
Thank you very much.
Killed the room. Love it.
Did you like that? All right, so how could I have made that joke funnier?
You did all right, Dave.
Okay, thank you. I was seeking some approval. You know what, guys? Give him another big round of applause. Thank him.
Project that you were the selector. That's great stuff. You know, you've been talking about that for quite some time. I was with a mutual friend of ours the other night talking about this, and he's like, well, what would you do, you know, for example, this waitress over here, what would you do if you wanted to meet her? And I said, well, what I'd do is I'd call her over and go, you know what, my friend and I here, we come here quite a bit, and what we like to do is before we, when we're here, we like to figure out who we're going to use as our waitress next time, and what we do is we interview a couple waitresses. And right now you've got 30 seconds to convince us of why we should select you next time we're here. And we did it. And she was like, she's a very attractive girl. She was like, I do a good job, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm looking at her going, first I'm like this, and then I'm like kind of increasing, like kind of like, it's not cutting it, you know, and she's like, it was beautiful. It was like, it's important to shift that, you know, immediately. It says all the right things. I think you guys have got enough foundational stuff that you understand why that works now. Okay. Act like you know without a doubt they're secretly into you. The mindset alone can create a reality. That's a great one to walk into just acting that way, smiling like you know they're into you.
You know, I want to make a comment about that. Just like he said, you know, assume familiarity, right? So assume that you know the person. Assume you know the person. When you do that, the other person, at first, they won't know. They'll kind of be like, oh, wait, maybe I know this person? So they'll start acting familiar with you. And then 5 seconds later, as soon as you're into it, it's over. Okay, it accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. The other one, act without a doubt, like she's secretly into you. Humans are very sensitive to what their role is in the situation. Okay? We're very sensitive to what our role is. We're always wondering, how do we fit into what's happening around us? What's my role supposed to be? And we look around to others. So if you assume a role that has an obvious counterpart, like she's pursuing you, she'll start playing along. So assuming a role is very powerful because humans just fall right into it. Go ahead.
I was going to say that.
Oh,
But
powerful.
thanks for finishing that. For me.
Stepping on your toes there? You like
You know, people are silently begging to be led. We've heard that all our lives, and I put here usually out of their boring existence, because that's really, you know, a lot of people live mundane lives that are, you know, a lot of these women are wanting, you know, some sort of little encounter like that just to brighten up their day, make it fun, you know. And you know, if you're the guy who's delivering that, all those positive feelings get immediately transferred onto you. So it's a good thing.
You told me to stay up here, so I'm going to step on
Yeah.
your toes at everything.
Yeah, of course.
Every time.
Yeah.
I did an interview with an incredible marketing expert, and I paid a lot of money to do the interview with the guy, get a little consulting from him. And the most profound thing that he told me, he's a copywriter, okay? Teaches you to write really good sales copy. The most profound thing that he said to me, his name's John Carlton, by the way, fantastic guy, and you'll pay over $1,000 an hour for his time. He's incredible. And the most powerful thing that he said to me in our interview was, he said, people are bored. They're bored out of their minds at all times. They wake up, they're bored. They make breakfast, they eat their Twinkie, they're bored. They watch a TV show or the news, which bores them further. They take their boring transportation to their boring job and work with a bunch of boring people all day. And then at the end of the day, they go home the other direction on their boring commute to their boring house, may watch a little bit more boring TV, and go to bed bored. They don't have an exciting life, and they don't know anyone that has an exciting life. Most people are bored. And if you can just break them out of their boredom, if you can just be an interesting, exciting person, you're dramatically different from everybody else they know, and you're dramatically different from most of their life.
Do it for your entertainment first and foremost. This is probably the biggest one, because if you go in there, you know, really like attach to the outcome, they're going to sense that attachment to it and that tension. Do it for your entertainment first and foremost. You're out there to have a good time and make yourself laugh, you know, and just that non-attachment to it creates this immediate, like, you know, what would you call it? A connection.
Well, you see me do it sometimes, right? Where I go,
Yeah,
and
right.
everyone does it. Nobody like, oh,
Exactly.
do this for me. I'm having a lot of fun. You notice that I have fun, and it just doesn't matter. Okay, and some of the things bomb, and some don't. But for the most part, it's pretty successful. Like, for instance, you know, Lush. Huh? What do we have in here? Oh, I thought you were gonna have like some of those little soap bombs that you drop in your bath. All right, so here we've got Ambrosia Soothing Shaving Cream. See, I'm very entertained by doing this right now.
Are we sure he's in the right seminar right now?
Oh, 2 Ambrosia Shaving Creams. Huh? Is this yours?
Exactly.
Anyway, there you go. Do things for your entertainment. I mean, really, we
Absolutely.
definitely believe in that,
Yeah.
as you can see.
You know, the other thing is develop the mindset. Some of you have seen the mastery program. You know,
He's hiding it under the
I know.
table.
That's good. I would too. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, Eric from the Mastery series talks about how, you know, if you're in that situation, it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. Whatever, you know, she says something host up to you, whatever. Bounce back. You know, be that rubber ball. Don't be that matzo ball that just sticks. You know, develop the ability to. Somebody said matzo ball.
Matzo ball?
Did he say matzo ball? I don't know what he said.
The Jewish holiday just
Yeah,
went
whatever.
by, and
Yeah,
it
no
got
offense.
him
No,
all
but he
on the-
said that. I think he said matzo. So he offended them. I just
Oh, I see.
carried it
you
on.
repeated the offense.
Exactly.
That's good.
But develop that ability to bounce back. You know, like I said, it doesn't mean anything about you if, you know, girls are, you know, I mean.
And by the way, one of the reasons why I'm being particularly stupid up here with this gentleman is because I want you to see what a comfortable interaction looks like. Okay, and some of the things are funny and some of them aren't, but we are having fun no matter what.
I totally lost my train of thought. It's all your fault. What I was going to say was, you know, bounce back. Lean back is actually what it is. Lean back.
Okay, so don't be the matzah.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, you know, a woman could be having a bad day. I mean, you know, don't take that personal. Bounce back. All right. always look for language and dual meanings. Misinterpret anything you possibly can. You know, we've already talked about that today. Never laugh at your own jokes. If you do slip, recovery and go back to a straight face. You know, that's an important thing.
It actually, you do that. I didn't really think about that. But yeah, if you do slip and you start laughing, as you're laughing, go back to the straight face.
Yeah, it's very important. Once in a while, I'll bust up. I remember one time I was at the Starbucks and I had one of those metal cups. And I gave it to the girl to rinse out, and it was like 3/4 full, and she was really upset about the fact that I gave her this full cup to like rinse out. And she goes, we don't normally do this. And so she had the lid in the hand, and she had this cup that was 3/4 full, and she said, we don't normally do this. And I go, okay, well, they do it for me, you know. And she goes, well, yeah, we don't normally do this. And she goes, how come you didn't drink it? And I said, well, it was hurting the sores in my mouth. And for some reason, she was like, and her face, you know, I lost it for a minute, but then of course I went back to my, you know, composure. But occasionally we have a situation like that where somebody's so shocked, you just lose it for a minute, you know. But always go back to the straight face and be like, what? You know. So,
Oh my God.
you know, it's okay to do that, but make sure you recover. It's important.
By the way, that one, he busts that one out about once a month with somebody.
Yeah.
Anything
That's a
when it
great
comes
one.
to food or something like
Yeah.
that, he'll like take
Can I
a
have
bite of something
Sure.
and then
Right as you can finish. It was hurting the sores in my mouth anyways. Drink, any of that kind of stuff.
you just never seen a more shocked human being than when you bust that one out.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Master the look of disapproval and disgust. You know, have a few of them, you know. You and I do that, you know.
Sure.
Pretty much. It's a great one.
Yeah, have that stuff on tap for if a woman does anything stupid, if she trips over something, if she drops something in the restaurant, she does anything that's embarrassing, if she makes a mistake on your order, if the waitress, I mean, every time you go to a restaurant, there's always an opportunity to do that with the waitress. There will always be one. And if you approach it as, like you said, you're on a comedy set, which is a great idea, and then you look for the opportunity, and as soon as she does it, you're ready, you're looking for it, and then you're like, I like the whole tea thing where you go.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
I love to, anytime there are people around, bring them into it, you know, especially random strangers, you know, like saying, you know, like if there's any kind of interaction, you know, and it's not really going the way that you want it to, turn around to somebody and go, are you hearing this right now? I mean, can you really, you know, believe what's going on? It projects, like, it's appalling, isn't it? You know, any of that kind of stuff.
Especially if you're busting on her about
Right.
something, like she's dropped something and then you're like making fun of her and then she like
Right.
drops it again and she's like going, oh my God. And then you just turn around to somebody else and you go, do you see what's going on over here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That projects major confidence. The fact that you're so confident that you're willing to bring just random strangers into it. It's really good stuff. Stories and examples. Practice all the time. You know, I think you should just always practice all the time. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing. Like we were at the Met the other day, and I was going to the. Ian's already laughing back here because he remembers what happened. There was this old lady standing by the water fountain. By the way, I don't pick up on old ladies as a general rule, but sometimes a guy gets lonely, he's traveling. So she's standing by the water fountain, and I'm kind of looking at her, and she's kind of, you know, doing something with her purse or whatever. And I said, you going to get you going to drink from the water fountain? She goes, no, I'm just getting my pills. And I go, you got anything good? Did you see that? You heard that? And she just laughed, and it was just, what are you going to lose? What are you going to get upset if the old lady does? That cocky, funny stuff ain't going to work on me, Sonny. I mean, what is she going to do? You know, just have fun with it. You got nothing to lose. Just have fun. You know, you're doing that David D'Angelo stuff on me. I ought to whip your ass. No, it's not going to happen. Just have fun with it. For some of you guys, that's, okay, anyways. The elevator at the hotel, there was a girl that got in the elevator just, you know, I was watching TV and I go, and she comes in and she's, you know, looks at me, I go, you got the remote? Like, I've been standing here for like an hour trying to change his channels. She loved it, you know, just have fun with it, you know. Oh yeah, this is great. I mean, I've got so many stories of shit I used to say to women about being overweight when I was 120 pounds overweight. It's unbelievable. There's this girl that I used to work with, and there was a gym right by our house, or by where I worked, and I was working out one day, and she came in and I'm like, you work out here, and you know, and so she was working on one of the machines. It was beautiful, and she had just finished. It was actually she was working on her hamstrings, you know, that work on the ass and the hamstrings, and she had just finished up doing her set, and I walk past her, I go, you know what? You're not done. You got a lot of work to do. and she goes, whatever. And so she told me later on that after I walked away, some guy goes, he comes over to her and goes, don't mind that jerk. You look great. And, this whole thing. And like a week later, there was intimacy between us, and not with, anyways.
You didn't invite him?
Yeah. No, with me and that guy. No, with me and her. What I'm saying is his comment didn't create the outcome he was looking for. Mine did. All right, okay. Anyways, a girl that I work with just a couple weeks ago, I was in one of the director's offices, and she walks in, and I'm having a little, just BS session, and she comes, she goes, I'm moving right now, and the apartment managers, they need to get, verification that I work here in order for me to move, and I'm like, I'm gonna meet. She's not even talking to me. I'm like, we're busy right now. She goes, shut up. So the call gets screwed up, whatever, and she's like, oh, I gotta call him back. So a few minutes later, I walk past her cubicle, and I put down a little post note that said, I didn't realize I needed income verification at the projects. And I just walked, and those little things, those are great ways to create good stuff. Already told the Trader Joe's wrapper story. Farmer, target practice. It's really bad.
You need to tell it.
I should really.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure. I'm not really. You got to have people.
He's gonna be editing.
I know.
He's
So there's
flying
no
in
chance.
tomorrow.
So you
He's
guys,
flying in
this
to
will
edit
die.
this, so he'll see
this
it.
right now will die. No other human beings will ever hear this because he's going to get rid of this because he's going to be editing it.
Yeah.
But I use.
Hey, Farm, what's up? Everybody say hi, Farmer.
Hi, Farmer. Farmer.
You're going to be publicly ridiculed right now.
Yeah, Farmer helps out at these things a lot. He's one of David D's key design guys. And, he's a brilliantly talented guy, but he makes little mistakes a lot. And I razz him, but I say horrible, hurtful things to him. And then I, of course, will later on use those things on women if I have an opportunity. So he's like it's like the little, he'd made a mistake one time, or he said, oh, I'm going to be doing such and such, you should go do this. And I'm like, quite honestly, I find your approval seeking and begging for attention almost as appalling as your physical appearance. And he was like, good stuff, just find those. And then one time he made a mistake, and there was I think he was sitting back at the tech stage when there was something going on here, and he made a mistake. And I walked back to him and I go, you know what, Farmer? Your low self-esteem is warranted. What a great thing to say to a woman. Okay, anyways. Just have fun. Just have fun. You're having fun. All right, how to create and spot cockety comedy situations. What the hell was that? How to create and spot cocky comedy situations. First of all, you have to walk in expecting it. You got to know it's there. When you're in that space where you're just having fun, and it's going to be there. It always is. It's going to be something she's doing, something she's saying, or something she's wearing. It always presents itself. You and I, when we used to travel together years ago, when there would be technical things, the conversation was the solutions in the environment, the solutions in the environment. And when you went into that mindset, you'd always be able to work out the problem no matter what it was. If you go in knowing it's going to be there, it usually is. A few examples of context to use. Style, lack of, outdated. I'll give you some more. I'm actually got some specific examples of things you can do. Fitness or size. Be careful with that. It's better to mess with girls' fitness who are already in pretty good shape. You don't want to. Some girls over. I think you understand what I'm saying there. Economic status, social status, age, cleanliness, morality, or like some sort of criminal. It's good stuff. Can setups and lines. I like to we see a girl. You can say something like, I like that shirt. Set it up with, I like that shirt. I bet they make it in your size. Did your seeing eye dog pick that out for you? Wow, Salvation Army has a great selection these days. Or, it's amazing how well it hides your belly. And you have seen me use things like this. You have actually seen me use these types of things. Now you have to have a little bit of acuity around this. You can't. If this girl looks like the most insecure human being that's ever made, you're all jacked up, and you don't want to use it on somebody that looks like they're going to cry just from you saying hello. You have to actually have a little bit of acuity with the with the woman you're interacting with. That's an important thing. And when you do, you can get away with things like this. So I want to make sure to say that. I love your hair. It kind of reminds me of a bird's nest. It's amazing how good a $10 haircut looks these days. Imagine how good it would look if it was washed.
Did
my
you just
personal
make all this stuff up back there?
No, I made it up. I had a little folder of it, stuff I had made up a long time
Oh,
ago.
yeah, okay.
And then, of course, my favorite, it makes your head look normal. Good stuff.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
I mean, you've seen me say things that are, and it's beautiful stuff.
Hides your belly.
Yeah, it does
well.
hide it. It does hide it pretty well.
Oh, man.
She stutters or gets her words mixed up. That's easy for you to say. It's a good thing to say. Do you speak English? A good one. Or my other personal favorite, are you retarded? Yeah, good stuff. You're having fun. You're not trying to be an evil mean. You're having a good time. You're having fun. Some of you guys are like, I can tell you're like, I could never do that. Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, if you can do the whole straight guy, like the funny, like serious guy, when she screws something up or like messes something up that's like serious, and you turn her and you're like, oh, are you retarded?
Mm-hmm.
The tension that it creates is amazing. It's incredible. 'Cause
Yeah.